So, when did you first get into kind of the Harry Potter fandom? Did you read the books as a kid? Did you like watch the movies?
Yeah, I can't remember how old I was. I think probably like middle school, 6th grade or something. I read all the books and I watched the movies. I had that kind of, childhood like Harry Potter obsession phase. And more recently, in the last couple of months, I've relapsed.
I feel that.
It came up on, the Harry Potter stuff came up on TikTok, and it kind of restarted my Harry Potter phase.
Yeah. So what do you think, the appeal of this fandom is?
I mean, it's just, I think the fact that it's, magic, I feel like that just appeals to a lot of people, and it's, this other world that's just really cool and interesting. Because magic is cool, man.
It is. Do you think that, it's kind of like an escape for some people, and it's just, that's kind of, the appeal of, very, fantastical stories, in general?
Yeah, definitely for me. And that's why I like to read, because it's kind of an escape. And you get to, I can't remember the exact quote, but it's a man who reads lives 1,000 lives, and a man who doesn't lives 1 life. And it's very true, because if you read, you get to live all these fantastical adventures and do all this cool stuff, mentally and emotionally.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Do you think that the Harry Potter books, movies, general fandom, do you think it appeals to more younger or older audiences, or a mix between?
I think the really cool thing is it applies to everyone, because you've got all the younger kids who are just now getting into Harry Potter, and they're just now the middle schoolers who are just now getting into it, and then you've got all the older people who are full-on adults now who grew up in the beginning of that.
Yeah.
And it's just something about it seems to apply to all ages.
Definitely. Do you prefer the books or the movies more?
This is gonna be kind of debated. Unpopular opinion alert. I actually kind of prefer the movies. I also haven't read the books in a really long time, so that might be part of it. But I just think I like the movies.
Yeah, you kind of like the visual.
Yeah.
Do you personally like how the movies were done? Because I know that some people would disagree with some of the casting and just the way it was filmed and how accurate it was to the books.
I really like the way it was filmed, and I get some of the casting wasn't entirely accurate, but I almost prefer the actors who were casted than their descriptions in the book.
Yeah.
Which I think it's because I do think I watched the movies before the books, which I think definitely impacted that. And how I saw characters. There are definitely certain things, and if you look at some deleted scenes really should have been kept in because they add a lot. But overall, I think they did a pretty good job, seeing as usually when books are turned into movies, they totally botch it and they never make it past the first movie or book because they're almost always terrible. They actually did a good job of giving it the same feeling as the books.
Yeah. So do you have a favorite character?
Alright, I'm gonna start with the somewhat more obvious one, Draco Malfoy.
Yeah, I do like your earrings quite a bit. They
Yeah.
look good.
It's not embarrassing at all. No, but he's, and I know everyone likes him nowadays, but let me just say I liked him before it was cool. So that's my one flex for the evening. I mean, he's misunderstood. Sorry.
It's okay.
I don't know, there's something about him that I think people just relate to, because he has all this internal conflict. And I've heard he's been called the boy who had no choice, and I think it's just, a lot of people have savior complexes.
Yeah.
And I feel people just, because all he really needed was love and affection. Because he was never, like, he was written to be the antagonist, but he never really had a choice in, like, the things he did. Because he's like, you've seen his father. Imagine growing up with that as a role model. And obviously he was like, it impacted a lot of his views on stuff, but also, like, you can see when he, like, in the scene where he's, like, trying to kill Dumbledore, he's like, I have to do this because he does. He's it kind of reminds you that he, like, that whole movie, I think it's like the 6th one, is about, like, not the whole thing, but a lot of it is about Harry being like, Draco is a Death Eater, Draco is bad, like, he's trying to kill Dumbledore. But then you really, that scene just reminds you that he's just a scared kid.
Yeah. Do you have another favorite character that you'd like to talk about today?
Something about Luna is just, she's so, like, pretty and airy, and I think it's just, she's really, like, got a quiet confidence that I really admire, because, like, she's not, like, overly loud or, like, pushy, but you can tell, like, she doesn't care what other people think, and she's got a way with words.
So, I know that there are a lot of quizzes you can take online, and many fans want to know what Hogwarts house they are. Do you have a Hogwarts house?
Officially, I am a Ravenclaw, but, like, under the table. This kind of gets controversial when people, like, mix the houses.
Yeah.
But like, under the table, I'm kind of a Slytherclaw. People just think I'm Slytherin, and I gotta be honest, I kind of see it too. But I officially am a Ravenclaw.
Okay,
officially.
Gotcha. Do you want to tell us a little bit about this house and, you know, kind of how, like, I don't want to say what stereotype, what sort of people are sorted into this house?
Well, people often think, like, to start, like, Ravenclaw was the most underrepresented house in the movies. Like, they got Luna and Cho Chang, and that was it. Oftentimes when people first think of Ravenclaw, they think of smart people, which isn't wrong, but another thing about, like, Ravenclaw is they're hardworking and creative, and the whole, like, sorting into houses, you can see it in, like, ways like how all the Weasleys were sorted into Gryffindor, or, like, how the Malfoys always get put in Slytherin, and it's less about, like, their personality, because a good example, I guess, would be Neville. Because he's not one, like, stereotypically, like, brave. So I see the houses, you get sorted more on, like, what you value. Like, Gryffindor's value glory and bravery, Slytherin's value, like, power. Ravenclaw's value intelligence and hard work, and Hufflepuff's value, like, family and friends.
Yeah, that's excellent. So, going off the topic of lots of quizzes you can take and finding out how you would fit into the wizarding world, do you have a wand? And if so, could you tell me a bit about that?
Yes, I do know my wand. It is pearwood with a phoenix feather core. It's 13 3/4 inches and has reasonably supple flexibility. I'm not just some weirdo who, like, knows it off the top of my head, by the way. I was looking at that before. If you want to, like, know about it, I don't know tons about wand lore, but Phoenix Feather, that's, like, one of the rarer cores, and it's supposed to allow for, like, a wider variety of, like, spell casting.
And, you know, still in that same category of wands and stuff like that. Do you have a Patronus? Do you know your Patronus is?
Yes. My Patronus is a dragonfly. I don't know what that says about me.
I think dragonflies are cool.
Yeah.
Okay, last question. Little bit of a fun one. If you could try any food from the Harry Potter world, what would it be and why?
Also a really, really hard question. I feel like the obvious answer is butterbeer. I feel like that gets the most, like, show. But it's not, like, specific food, but I always, like, it's like in the first movie, the Halloween feast just looks amazing, because it's got, like, all sorts of, like, sweets and, like, not just, like, candy, but, like, cakes and cupcakes and cookies. And it just, my sweet tooth comes out, and it just childhood
Oh, yes.
and overdosing on sugar.
So yeah, that's all for the interview. Thank you for coming in and talking about Harry Potter
It was
today.
my pleasure, really.